Well, Whew. I've almost completed Thousand Year Door, and it has not disappointed. Bright colors, happy characters, and the most hilarious writing I've ever seen, Mario or otherwise. Time to wrap this up and save Peach. Ooh, deep dungeon staircase. Oh yeah, so scary. I love how the final destination attempts to be so dark and threatening. This is a game in which Mario has to jump repeatedly on a Bob-omb 11 times to wake him up. Look at these ridiculous comments as you continuously interrupt an old man's sleep. This is not a game we're supposed to take seriously. Whoa. Peach possessed by a demon? I gotta admit, that is a little disturbing. There it is. Typical Paper Mario joke. Let's agree to be the witch's servant, just to see what slapstick, out-of-character response this demon retorts with. What? Jesus. Did that really just happen? What? The power's out, but the TV's still on? Peach? Oh, maybe there's a... It's dark, isn't it? It had to be done, because Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is the darkest, most somber entry in the franchise's 40-year history. Bosses get killed and sworn revenge for, Mario becomes unhinged multiple times, dark mysteries and cover-ups are all over the place, complete with death threats, tournament fighters get disposed of after having the life sucked out of them, NPCs lament long-lost loves, party members cope with the death of their spouse, tech, although technically a computer, gets obliterated, hundreds of innocent civilians in the audience die for the sake of evil, and wrong dialogue choices mean the end of everything. This isn't the only one of those either. Stay tuned. It was all out in the open, even if we didn't recognize it. While we were all staring starry-eyed at the beautiful, bright color palettes and cute paper effects like this flipping boat and unfolding stairs, adoring the colorful Mario and Peach characters, it was all blinding us to Rogueport's crime-infested streets, where the Mafia reigns supreme, and nooses and skulls stuck on spikes make up the primary decor of the main hub world that you're constantly traveling back to in between chapters. Like, look at this. Even in an important moment, when Goombella and Mario meet for the first time, if you look in the background, there's a Mafia syndicate beating going on. What's even worse is Mario ends up working with the Mafia in a very close-knit way, swapping favors back and forth in his search for the Crystal Stars. He essentially becomes the most trusted member of a Mafia syndicate. Rogueport itself is so crime-ridden, they have an isolated, dilapidated building dedicated to solving the myriad of troubles that the local populace is ridden with, including people making last wishes before their ultimate end. And that's just the opening set piece of the game. So join me as we investigate more drama, derangement, and depression that saturates Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door. Twilight Town should be the most obvious setting for the morbid theme that we're delving into here, and it does not disappoint. Even its music evokes a melancholy twinge within your spirit that makes you instantly want to help these poor townspeople who are one by one being transformed into pigs upon a bell chiming. I must admit, the urgency of this problem is a great way to draw us in, but Nintendo went over the top dark here. A single mother and her kids are huddling in hunger while also in fear of what may come to pass. Despite not having much to offer, she gives you an item in return for food. And upon the next bell toll, the mom gets the pig punishment! What a tragic, traumatic event for her kids to witness, as we can clearly see by their appropriate reactions. See? We've got one of them in absolute shock at what he's just witnessed. Another who's understandably lashing out at Mario to fix her. And over here, the poor youngest child. I can't even imagine what his thoughts are. This poor kid. He's gonna need Mario's most uplifting, comforting words that he can muster. Are you ready? Let's do our best to see if we can heal this shattered mind. No. No way. That's horrible! How could a kid be that messed up? He sees his mom transform into a pig right before his eyes, and his mind immediately goes to, what would this taste like if I ate it? Forget Resident Evil or Dead Space, nah. This is horror that supersedes everything else imaginable. Goombella even questions whether there was a self-sacrifice message to this family tragedy. It's all too much. We're just getting started. There's some messed up family systems in play. Starring these three incompetent sister ghosts, they attempt to destroy Mario with a super bomb, and then blame the youngest, Vivian, for absolutely nothing when it goes missing. The eldest sister does this multiple times. In fact, this entire torment has been going on for God knows how long. Vivian, she just wants acceptance, wants to fit in, but her conscience is clearly weighing on her, especially when Grotus emphasizes how crucial she and her sisters are to, helping him rule the world. The youngest sister can't even find a trinket she likes without getting absolutely lambasted by insults and cruelty. She's so trauma bonded, she abandons Mario right in the middle of a major boss fight where Dupless steals his identity. Having her emotions played with once again, she fades into nothingness, further emphasizing the grimness. Immediately afterwards, you have no choice but to fight against your own partners. The game tries to make light of it with these absolutely hilarious, boisterous speeches by Dupless that should have clued them in much earlier that this guy was a fraud. But that doesn't change the fact that I am setting Goombella on fire in an attempt to clear Mario's name. But thank God this at least has a happier outcome, with Vivian breaking free of that traumatic cycle and taking a chance on the good-hearted nature and kind treatment Mario gave her over the course of, 2 hours. But that was still 2 hours more than her own family supplied. Gah. What's the deal with that one? She doesn't even speak. It's just guh, huh, guh. Who does she think she is? Banjo? And yet, the oldest sister treats her like a real winner. Whew. Let's ease up a bit. We'll go somewhere brighter, more enticing and exciting. Like Glitzville. It's a Vegas-style entertainment arena where heroes and villains archetypes face off against each other to the delight of odds makers, hecklers, and hardcore fans. The place looks really well run. You've got Jolene, the straight-laced secretary, and the Dana White-style Grubba, who just seems like a typical greedy narcissist, but not anything more malevolent than that. But oh, there is more to this guy. His whole operation is messed up. Glitzville contains so much drama and darkness that's effectively covered up by the rock fanfare and, suitably, all the glitz and glamour that comes with something as high profile as a major fighting circuit. The game sets you up into a very simple plotline of working up the ranks to beat Rock Hawk and get the Crystal Star.
Oh yeah!
But then, you start hearing some shady rumors. This Green Bandit talks about fates and happenings that shouldn't be possible, like haunted bathrooms, whispering voices in faraway rooms, and disappearances of fighters that have never been solved, and you know something is up. And shortly thereafter, you start getting cryptic, threatening emails.
Oh!
From 2 different people, no less. Unable to be identified, some offering cryptic hints about obtaining the Crystal Star, others warning you to stop, and some with literal death threats in them. With no other leads, you follow the letter's directions, getting sent out to phone booths to acquire secret keys, getting ordered to remove the posters in the lobby to reveal hidden passageways to forgotten corners of the arena, and a chill runs up your spine as you gradually find secret documents and plans without much evidence as to who is behind all of it. Jolene starts acting odd, getting flustered upon hearing breaches of locked rooms, and chastising Mario for even being in the general area. It's all very harrowing. But Mario does his best, rising up the ranks, providing optimal entertainment, and getting closer to dethroning Rock Hawk, and it all seems to be going good. Until someone tries to murder Mario with a cake! Disguised as an admirer's gift, it incapacitates your partner if you decide to go through with it, leaving Mario short-handed in one of the toughest fights of the circuit. Sure, it doesn't kill either Goombella or the unfortunate sap who digests it if you refuse, but it's definitely poison, and the intent was for Mario to eat it, whose body may not have resisted it the same way. There's so much evilness here as you continue to spy and gather what information you can from secret passageways. Is Jolene sabotaging you? What's the deal with Grubba? Was the Rock Hawk bozo so intimidated by your skills as the great Gonzalez rose up the ranks that he resorted to cheating? Is that what the cake was about? You can't trust anyone, and you are being manipulated constantly. Things get even more heated when the evidence and messages lead you to finally come across a hidden storage room containing a lifeless King K. Koopa and the same Green Bandit who made you aware of all this suspicion. After some dire words of warning, the bandit proclaims how his end is nigh, and that Koopa? He is done, seems to be dead, silenced, doesn't make a sound. And then you look, and there's Jolene at the door. This is grim, shady, and messed up. I mean, fighters being beaten, stashed away, and left for dead? Real family-friendly setup, right? But hey, rated E for everyone! Don't you believe it for a second. Soon after this revelation, Mario becomes locked in this ransacked room, in danger of forfeiting the championship match, forcing you to get into the stadium's underbelly and sewer system just to find a way to put that egotistical bird in his place. And finally, after becoming the champion, you find access to a duct above Grubba's office, hearing a monumental confession of sins, how he disposed of many past champions, including Jolene's own brother, all in the pursuit of power and undying youth, which he gained by removing the life force of honest, workaday fighters who were just trying to make a go of it. All so he could become an eternally tanned, macho wrestler even in his advanced age. Perhaps Grubba was a childhood Hollywood Hulk Hogan fan. The color scheme just kind of reminds me of it. I mean, The Rock seems to be a parody of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Actually, nah. I'm thinking too deep about this. I'm just trying to keep the mood a bit lighter here. Yes, it all does work out in the end, as Jolene is revealed to have been X, one of your email contacts who had been helping you all along in her attempt to rescue Prince Mush. But all this talk of disappearing fighters and dirt nap quotes from Grubba, this is far more malevolent than any other Mario villain, except the final witch, which we'll definitely talk about. Even the end of the chapter text concedes how oppressively criminal the whole chapter was at its heart. Which just goes to show that even the brightest, most inviting settings often conceal the most nefarious characters and fates, including a first-class train. As you spend a 3-day travel excursion towards Poshley Heights, you're confronted with a dire scheme that involves deceased former passengers, threats, suspects, and the worst detective in the history of anything attempting to solve it. Seriously, you can tell how ineffective this penguin is at his job when he misidentifies Mario as the most maligned, unpopular, beaten down brother ever. Have you happened upon anyone that's this bad at their job? But the spookiness really elevates here. To obtain a key clue to the mystery, you're tasked with finding this old, battered diary from a deceased toad who is still attached to the physical train. The diary has been gathering dust for years in the cargo hold, and the toad spirit explicitly warns you not to read it. Should we do it? Unlike the final boss choice, here, the game gives you 2 extra chances to back out, the dialogue increasing in severity each time. It's so tempting. You get the feeling that this mushroom dude has lived a really exciting, risky life. What would be the harm in just flipping through a couple pages? The game goes into jump scare territory, and it doesn't pull any punches as the angered spirit drains Mario of every ounce of life he has. And it's game over. You lose everything. Damn. You scarcely get one sentence in and BAM! There's the ghost! This is horrifying. If it's not devious or evil kind of dark, Paper Mario is hitting us over the head with tragedy, regret, and sacrificial themes that seem to belong in another game entirely. Let's take a look. Bobbery, most Paper Mario fans would agree, is one of the best party members. He's got great special attacks, his dialogue is full of wonderful quotes and personality, and he helps access all kinds of secrets. But hidden behind his explosive gusto and bravery lies a broken Bob-omb, one who is tormented night and day by the premature death of his wife. Podley, the bartender, gives a tragic retelling of the sudden illness that claimed Bobbery's bride Scarlet, which is already sad enough, but the subsequent reveal of her encouragement for Bobbery to live on should she pass was written in a letter that Podley failed to deliver to Bobbery. He let the old captain wither away for decades. It's heart-wrenching stuff that doesn't even try to put a lighthearted spin on it. How many years of Bobbery's life could have been salvaged if this coward would have actually honored Scarlet's last request? This guy is terrible. We'll come back to him. But as for Bobbery, his tragedy doesn't stop there either. Nintendo thought he should suffer some more. After arriving at Keyhall Keep, the sea captain gets blindsided by these flame monsters. After attempting to save him, he looks very worse for wear, especially judging from his speech patterns, and thus you're tasked with bringing him one last drink before he joins his Scarlet in the afterlife. And once you finally give that to him, No way. No! Bobbery dies. You spend so much effort to obtain it begrudgingly from that hilariously condescending, cowardly Flavio or Flavio character, who deserves his own video, honestly. You trek through the jungle, and the endless ellipses when you make contact make you feel as if this was a timed challenge that you have failed. Luckily, it's a wonderful screw the audience joke, as Bobbery rebounds heroically, as he was simply exhausted and needed a snooze. But the dark path you took to get here leaves you feeling emotionally drained. But machines have feelings too. Paper Mario wants you to believe that anyway, so we can use those optimistic sentiments to blindside you near the end of your journey. Tech has the whole AI becomes so sophisticated it develops human emotions cliche mastered. How many times have we heard the machines have no idea what love is from science fiction media across the decades? But I enjoy the way it's handled here, because the player gets to experience this from Peach's perspective and enjoy hilarious segments attempting to teach Tech about human feelings, like the dancing number as he tries to process what fun is. Peach does get put into danger because of Tech, like when the computer becomes suspicious about Grotes's plan. But there's a touching recognition that perhaps love isn't as impossible for a machine as one might think, and some legitimately deep conversations emerge about the importance of enjoying life, even through its more difficult times. As cartoony as all the characters are, it still tugs on the heartstrings when Tech's data becomes deleted after his intentions are found out from Grotus. The glitchy, malfunctioning screen fade out and desperate, slow, digital text crawl actually does make an impact. What could be sadder than killing off a sentient computer? Killing it again right in front of the main protagonist! Yeah, Mario finds his way to meet Tech on the friggin' moon, who seems relieved to have finally met the man who Princess Peach has clamored on about for weeks. A flashback from a computer memory is strange, but still heartfelt. And it hurts, seeing the absolute last gasp power transfer to the teleporter shut down Tech completely, with the room cloaked in a red wash of computer death. Followed by a pretty convincing explosion to hammer home the finality. Thousand Year Door doesn't pull as many punches as you'd think. It's not all about the main characters either. Simple, mundane NPCs have their own instances of darkness, tragedy, and regret. The White Bob-omb General White is a closet alcoholic who has a thing for a woman less than half his age. The nerdy Professor Frankly wants to say, "make an ass of myself." Seriously, that's the joke he was going for with this assumption line. Even Flurry acknowledges how uncouth this sounds. Back to Twilight Town. There's lonely residents who have such little regard for their own lives that they don't care about this hideous pig transformation looming over them. You have depressed people wishfully thinking over their second life while refusing to put any effort into their current one. The same mother who transforms into a pig? Apparently, that trauma wasn't enough. She's also a nostalgic, reminiscing soul who deeply misses the first love of her life, which ironically is that two-faced bartender Podley, whose forte is telling tales of woe about other characters. When the spotlight is put on him, though, he keeps his heart closed almost completely, refuting the woman's existence. Well, he tries to. Not only that, he puts it all on Mario to deliver what's really sad news, and though it gives her some peace, some wounds never heal completely. That's 2 lives this guy ruined. Worst NPC in history. The punies of the Boggly Tree world that initially come across as docile and adorable suddenly go bloodthirsty when pitted against this rival jabby insect group. Look at them them going full bore with their attacks, smacking him around without relenting, and subsequently blowing up the whole living commons for these things. And they're ecstatic about it. We have to give a shout out to these mystery boxes too. While the dialogue is hilarious to read, to be sure, they truly are attempting to humiliate you with scorn, insults, and jabs. They honestly think that they're destroying our self-esteem. They call us losers and crybabies, ask us if we can understand our cylindrical agony, order us to suffer aerodynamic humiliation, suggest we open them up to score with a sexy babe, simply spell out how amused they are, and call out our embarrassment. Look at how much of a kick this guy gets out of the rolling tube paper ability.
Now roll like a dropped butterscotch on a sidewalk.
Mario himself can be an absolute bully and mean-spirited as hell. That's not a sentence I ever expected to say.
He's often portrayed as an altruistic do-gooder.
It's all thanks to you. Thank you, Mario.
But here, he can be threatening to creatures who are infinitely smaller and weaker than him. He calls them a nerd. He might refuse to help in times of crisis, even towards unhatched eggs who have no ability to defend themselves, because man, dude's gotta eat. And he can get on board with the idea of stealing the orange crystal star instead of working up the ranks of the Glitz Pit. And speaking of that place, Mario's strategy to deal with his adoring fan base is to pummel them with hammer blows by the hundreds. I mean, yeah, it makes sense when he's trying to save a train from a gooey mass of evil puffballs, or finding a key in a skeleton mob. That is legitimate. Pounding the crap out of insects just for spare change is lowbrow, but I mean, I guess that's not criminal. But this?
They're just typical starstruck fans. Mellow out a bit.
Imagine if the Beatles responded to their fame by pulling out mallets and clubbing the masses of adoring fans.
The Beatles were a band. Think One Direction, but 60 years ago. Even I'm not that old, but just in case you didn't know.
Rock Hawk is a dense idiot, but at least he has a softer public persona. He handles this like a true star should, just basking in the spotlight, giving the fans what they want. Even characters with the most minor showcases, like Toadette, don't escape Paper Mario's story in good spirits. She's so excited to teach him skills, like the super hammer and the spring jump shoes, putting her heart and soul into it with enthusiasm, optimism, and encouragement. You adore her gusto and spirit, but after her last tutorial is over, near the end of the game, she realizes that she won't get to interact with Mario anymore. Her role is finished. She gets reality smashed into her that Mario's goal is saving Peach, and she just can't handle it.
Just look at that pained, heartbroken expression.
She's lost all emotional control and is unable to face a future in which Mario doesn't need her cute tutorials complete with soothing pink backgrounds any longer.
Gut-wrenching.
Speaking of minor characters, look at Toadsworth. Oh, this guy's a piece of work. 5 minutes into the plot, after failing in every respect to keep an eye on Peach, his one job, he's quickly embraced the catastrophizing finality of the princess simply never returning.
Imagine suffering a setback and giving up that quickly. But damn, it sure is dark. You know what? I'm just gonna have to embrace the possibility that the power may never come back on. It's simply hopeless.
Goombella is attuned to the bleakness of many of your environments. The Palace of Shadow descriptions are all about the creepy vibes and unsettling feelings, and that makes sense, I guess, as it is a forgotten lair of an evil demon queen. But even in more neutral environments, like this clock tower, it becomes characterized as a lonely being, doing a job that no one appreciates, forever and ever. If you ever wanted a dark personal backstory of a clock, well, there it is. The audience? Well, that is a huge part of the battle system in Thousand Year Door, providing mushrooms and flowers if you entertain them enough, throwing rocks at you if you suck with your timing, and just being an awesome part of the combat experience. Even Luigi lends his support at times. Actually, no, he just stands there while everyone sitting around him gets rocks lined up to throw at his own brother. This game is filled with jerk-ass personalities, I guess. But hey, family support, that's always nice.
Finally getting lighter, hey? Well, even the audience gets killed in this game.
Even during regular battles, spectators can be crushed by falling objects. There are no security standards or regulations on this stage, apparently. But it gets much worse. Bosses are not shy about using any means necessary to kill Mario, even if it means this hook-tailed dragon laying waste to the toads that are just watching the fight.
Killing dozens of innocents, and for what? So it can resist 2 more hammer swings from a fat plumber? Yeah, that's so justifiable.
Devours everybody! This isn't just a one-time thing either. This gooey mob of fuzzballs band together to restrain the civilians and use them as clubs. Overconfident fools like Lord Crump inhale the audience and fire them out of arm cannons. What? And look at that! It's doing 0 damage, so he's just giving people concussions and broken limbs for the heck of it. The pirate ghost Cortez steals the onlookers' souls and vaporizes them, while the other half just sit there, relaxed and chill. Of course, the final Ghost Witch boss stoops the lowest, enabling you to feebly inflict your minor damage upon her, only for her to sacrifice 100 lives to make it all worth nothing. She had already shown the ability to become invincible to your attacks prior to this, so every single life was lost in vain.
Would you attend a WWE or UFC fight if there is a very real possibility of you getting injured? Or worse? Paper Mario is, wow, not safe for anyone involved. Of course, the final boss makes the most sense for this darkness theme. It is an RPG, after all. There must be a world-dominating, evil, powerful endgame boss, but this pushes the meter noticeably more than most others, even games with more realistic settings and characters. It starts with the cliched darkness spreading to all the locals you visited. That happens in many other movies and games, as the world gets put on notice, but quickly becomes more intense. We get Grotus, who was presented as the big bad all along, getting absolutely and instantly annihilated by the Demon Queen, followed by her proposal to Mario to submit and rule with her. You'd think that this would be a humorous, just joking response. Or that even if Mario was serious, his partner would wise up and set him straight. No. This is the end.
Mario pledges his allegiance. Goombella just has a brief shock of horror paste her face before the lights dim and the world perishes. It's stunning to witness this. It gives the story a gravitas of seriousness that comes quite out of nowhere. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Mario is being forced to attack Peach's possessed physical body.
Oh, that is messed up. Mario would never lay a finger on Peach. Go ahead, try to name one single other game where this atrocity occurs. Oh, real mature. I'm talking canon, story-based, actual game lore here. Grow up. This is serious. Clearly, being serious is the tone that I have set for this video.
Of course, the game only goes so far. Grotus is revealed to have survived, though only as a talking head. And most of the other villains, like Crump, share this same second chance fate, as does Tech, which I find hard to believe, as the power supply was completely shut off. And even if it wasn't, the base clearly seemed to have exploded moments afterwards. The developers really didn't want to leave any permanent mental scars, which is probably for the best. The ending is happy. Mario does save Peach, they get back on that weird boat again, and sail off into the sunrise together. So I admit, ultimately, Thousand Year Door never goes into bleak, mature-rated territory. Still, until these last few minutes, we are led to believe that all those fatalities did occur. It's the only Mario game to deal this explicitly with themes of death, regret, sacrifice, and even jump scares. When you combine this with the laugh-out-loud humor and characters who are so self-deluded to take seriously regardless of the stakes, as well as enemies who break the fourth wall, knowing full well how bad their disguises are, you're constantly engaged emotionally throughout the entire tale. That's why many fans enjoy this game, and you can come back to it years later and everything feels just as passionate as your first experience.
Whoa! Oh, thank God. I guess that's a sign that Paper Mario isn't always mired in the depths of despair. Mario wouldn't be much of a mascot for the entire industry if that was the underlying tonality of the franchise. But hopefully, this gave you a glimpse into a surprising, seedy underbelly of a game that's dear to many of our hearts. Hey, thanks for spending the time here, gamers. Check out some more Mario content here at Gaming Introspection, if you're interested. It's always good to see ya. Take care.